I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every man has a duty to question the lies. When D.C. turns its back and looks us in the eyes, the deep state had changed, but we shattered every link. Now the engine is roaring, full throttle, no blame. They mocked us from their towers while the country nearly fell, but the fire in us answered, red, white, and blue as hell. From the mountains to the prairies, hear the thunder in the streets. A million boots marching to the same damn beat. We are the Patriot Confederation. We are the Patriot Confederation. The Patriot Confederation, we are the Patriot Confederation. They call us conspiracy theorists, tried to bury the flame, but the flame became wildfire, and we're done with the shame. Washington's courage, Jefferson's pen, Declaration of Independence, let it ring again. The Constitution's promise, Bill of Rights held high, Old Glory still waving through the smoke in the sky. This is bigger than party, it's bigger than pride. It's the soul of a nation that they try to divide. When the eagle screams and the Liberty Bell rings, well, defend what I found is built with everything. No more shadow, no more lies. Look up, brothers and sisters, see the fire in our eyes. We are the Patriot Confederation. We are the Patriot Confederation. We are sworn to the Constitution till the day that we die. The Patriot Confederation, forever we rise.
As the Patriot Confederation, we do not bend, we do not break. We stand on the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Liberty will never fall.
This is the Patriots Prayer Network, where truth matters.
The following is a presentation of AOW Productions.
The views and opinions by the hosts and guests of this program do not reflect those of the Patriots Prayer Network, its owners and/or associates. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Every patriot has an obligation to question authority. Those who are honest are not concerned with your watchful vigilance, and those with integrity are not concerned with your discernment. Every American is obligated to voice their concern and stand up for their freedoms and liberties.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the men in the arena. We are the Patriot Confederation.
We will never back down from a fight. We're undefeated American.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Patriot Confederation for what is the 8th of December, 2025. I'm your host, Chad, out of Twin Falls, Idaho, and I'm hearing some echoing. I hope we can eliminate that, of course. John, can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine, Billy.
All right. I don't know why I'm getting echoing, of course. What could be causing it? Anyway, joining us this week, of course, I think he's joining us on the phone. Of course, Peter Vodenka. We've spoke to him before, and I think he's still muted on Zoom. So I've got to ask him to unmute there. So anyway, I think it's press *6 to unmute. If you can hear me, Peter, are you there?
Yeah, yes, buddy, I am. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem. John, you can hear him okay as well?
Yes, I can. Hi, Peter. How you doing?
Hello, John. Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
All right. So hopefully we got all the technical glitches out of the way, and so just checking some of the highlights. Well, somebody's been rather naughty. I just got to get this out of the way real quick. I don't know. Trump made a post on his usual Truth Social. You want to know how somebody replied? They said, "Why has nobody assassinated you yet?"
Ooh. You know how that goes. Somebody's gonna visit.
Yeah, so somebody's obviously not too smart. I had to throw that out there. So anyway, Peter, it's been a little over a year since the last time we spoke, and
yes,
we talked about it. The threat of communism is at the door of the United States of America, and some people are stupid enough to roll out the red carpet for it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So, and then again, most people who are choosing this are people who don't know a damn thing about living under a communist regime. And that's what we're going to talk about for this show this week. That's why I wanted to bring you on. By the way, every now and then, if hopefully this doesn't happen too often, but I may have to adjust your volume there because this automatically wants to turn, Zoom wants to turn down when, however, so, your volume may go in and out, but hopefully, we'll get a handle on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, first off, we seen it that obviously they elected a socialist mayor in Seattle. They elected electing socialists, of course, is nothing new, because Bernie Sanders was elected a long time ago, and he doesn't hide his intentions. He tells you up front what he wants. That's the only thing I respect about him. And then, of course, this Zoran Mandani, he's really putting it out there, though, talking about things that Bernie Sanders had never mentioned, and things that you might be familiar with growing up in Czechoslovakia. So let's start.
Yes.
Let's start with government-run grocery stores. Is this something you had to deal with?
Yes, that is true. But people think that if government take care of them or take care of something, it's gonna be great. People imagining in their head, if like people living in America, and they think that the services like a grocery store, healthcare, and everything else is gonna be great if it's run by government. They think that nothing is gonna change. They believe that they are gonna have exactly, or they are picturing, they're gonna have exactly the same services as they have right now, but it's gonna be run by the government. So it's either gonna be free, or it's gonna be better even, or it's gonna be something. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be free or better services because government is gonna take over. Which exact opposite is the true, because anytime government takes something over, it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay same as it was before. It always go down the hill, and it always gets worse and worse and worse. So people are naive to thinking, hey, I'm gonna be run by government, so it's gonna be better control. No, nothing stays same. Everything gets really worse and really quickly.
So basically, we're talking about a government grocery store. I mean, number one, how I'm wondering, especially the way how high the crime is in New York. I mean, once it gets ransacked by the criminals that they think they're going to control and they're not. First off, I expect the shelves to be bare and empty within maybe a day or two, especially a city at the size of New York. But for the most, what kind of things are they going to be? If you can't explain to us how this system works, I mean, obviously it's got to be a limited number of household items that you need. Whatever it may be, boxes of macaroni and cheese. Obviously, with a Muslim running their things, obviously, I think pork might be forbidden. So, I mean, how exactly does a government-run grocery store work? At least in your experience.
Yes, well, I can talk from my experience, Billy. I was born in the communism. I live in communism. But my parents were not. My parents were living in the free enterprise country. Czechoslovakia used to be just any other country. Private ownership, competition, free enterprise. It was just like in America. And then the communists came in and they took the control of everything. And all the services, well, let's just concentrate on the grocery stores itself. Everything is starting to disappear from the grocery store. Everything, what we know in grocery store is the stores were getting emptier and emptier and emptier with the communism being in the power. Therefore, let's say, in America right now, our grocery stores are full of the food and full of the products, and we have choices. You go to grocery store and you want to buy the flour, you want to buy the sugar, for example, just base salt, just basic things which we need for everyday life. And we have choices. There is so many different choices in American grocery store. You want to buy this brand and this brand and this and that, and there are choices. Well, in communism, all those choices disappear. And suddenly, because it is run by government, there is only one thing of all. There is one flour. So if you want to go to store and buy flour, want to buy salt, want to buy sugar or bread, suddenly there is no choices. There is only one thing there. So you have to grab whatever is there. You get that. But supplies is starting to limp really quickly and really badly. And eventually it got to the point that if you want to buy, let's say, meat wasn't in the store. You have to wait until they bring it to the store. Like I was living in the town where you have to go to the store, grocery store, on Tuesday, and you have to place the order for meat, which they're gonna bring next Tuesday. Now you have to tell them, well, I want this much. I want 2 pounds of, let's say, pork, or 2 pounds of beef, or whatever. You tell them what you're looking for, and next Tuesday they bring it back to the store, and then you go and you pick it up. Of course, you have to pay for it before. Now you couldn't change your mind, because they brought only stuff which was ordered by people, and so that's how it works under communism. The big cities, they were supplied a little bit better because there was more people over there, but small cities and towns, they have really bad supply. But like I said, in the communism, supplies of the food in communism, it's very bad. So let's say that, through the town, the news spread among the people, and they say, well, they brought this running to get oranges. So pretty soon you have the line waiting in front of the store on the sidewalk. And we all see the pictures of the stuff during the depressions and everything else. But this is not depression that happened in normal life. So people are out at the store and now they are waiting in the line for buy the 2 pounds of oranges or whatever. Well, there is only limited supply. So once they run out, the people who are gone, they are not in the store anymore. And of course, and that creates the black market and other situation, because the people who work in the store, they have access to those oranges. So they put this bag of oranges or box of oranges on the side for themselves. And so people cannot, so once they run out, people cannot get it anymore. But those who work in the store, they do still have supply, and they keep it for themselves, they keep it for their friends, or they might even keep it do some black markets. They sell it on the side for a lot more money. The grocery stores. I have great memory when I was a child. The news through the town came that toilet paper came to the store, because everything is very short supply. So most of the time we didn't even have basics like toilet paper or sanitary needs for the women, or just basic stuff. So the news spread that toilet paper was delivered to the store. But because there is more people than toilet paper, they sell only 1 roll per person, not the 1 bag, not 1 box, 1 roll per person. So that was my mom, my dad, my mom, my dad, myself, and my brother. So we go to the store separately to buy the 1 roll of toilet paper. So we have 4 rolls in our family, and everybody was doing that. So now you have 4 rolls of toilet paper, and when you run out, it might not be in the stores again. So that's the way which it is. And nobody in America understands that, because there was never shortage of anything. America is the greatest country there is. And there was always stuff because of the competition, because of the free enterprise. People produce, people who make these things, they do it. They do it so they can have better business than the next person. And Americans never experienced this, other than maybe during the COVID. You remember the times when there was no toilet paper in the ship? Remember what was happening at the time? We experienced it in America, but not nearly to the extent which it is under fully controlled government stores.
Well, of course, we can count the Great Depression, and there's very few people left alive that had to experience that. In fact, the Great Depression started in 1929, and my grandmother, who of course has since passed, she was born during the Depression, and she told me of the shortages she could remember. Plus, before my great-grandmother passed away, she told me a little bit about it as well, because her and her family came over to Idaho from Missouri. Of course, they had to not only experience the Depression, but also had to deal with the Dust Bowl as well, which was a big problem. I mean, that coupled with the Great Depression, really tough times back then. But that was the last time America really went through a tough time. You know, yeah, we went through some shortages during COVID, but nothing like that happened during the Great Depression, and absolutely not like living under a communist regime in Eastern Europe as well. So these people, they don't know anything that when it comes to socialism or communism. They're sold this snake oil that it's something good, and they're falling right for it.
Right.
I mean, and of course, some of them, you can step up and talk to, but obviously, you're a conservative. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a fascist. You're a Nazi, whatever. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to take your word for it. Or if you did go under a bad time during communism, you deserved it. Is something they're going to try to push. That's how stupid these people are. John, do you have any comment?
Well, we're right up on a break, I think, but you guys are speaking types or socialist types that say, yeah, but that was a different country and different leaders, but it works with the right people, and they don't seem to understand socialism and communism garner authoritarianism. You always get those greedy people. If you don't like your politicians today, you most certainly won't like how evil they become when they have total control.
Yes, exactly. You are right. We are up against a break, so let's get that out of the way. I think I went a little too far there. I normally never do this. So anyway, take our first break, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Attention gun owners, if you've purchased a self-defense plan from one of those companies that say that they'll have your back when a self-defense incident occurs, think again. Did you know that some of these plans are backed by insurance companies that likely have joined the Attorneys on Retainer program and get lots of benefits for firearms owners, including training, full affiliate program, and a complete legal defense on self-defense cases? Find a link to Attorneys on Retainer for more information at thebeardedpatriots.com/affiliates.
In 1930, there were 6 million. That number has plummeted to 1.8 million. Now 85% of the beef in America is controlled by just 4 companies. That means fewer farmers have to produce more food, thus incentivizing them to produce a high quantity of food instead of high quality food. Plus, if something goes wrong, the 98% of us that don't grow food are at risk of starving. Yikes, that's dark. Let's go darker. A few very wealthy companies have control over all the food. And if North Korea has taught us anything, a centralized food supply can kill a lot of people. The bottom line is this: you can't wait until hits the fan to figure out what your family's going to eat. But all hope is not lost. Here's the plan. It's called From the Farm. an industry-disrupting platform that directly connects customers and local farmers with a website that's as easy to use as Airbnb. From the Farm gives you fresh communities and helps small farmers not only survive, but thrive. We can't do this alone. We need the strength of the American people behind us. Help us build a new food system that combines the wisdom of the past with the technology of the future. Investing in From the Farm isn't just a financial decision. It's an investment into our future, our small family farms, and our food sovereignty. Invest today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again. We're joined by Peter Vodenka, who's located in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I love that area that he lives in. I hope to visit it again soon. I'll go to another Red Pill Expo. I mean, I know, Peter, when you first moved to the U.S., it was Minnesota for the longest time, and now you're in South Dakota, right?
Right.
Yes. All right. So, John, I want to get on what you were talking about there, and you said, and you're absolutely right. Well, socialism or communism was just never done right. Well, if we do it this way, it can be done right. Well, they said the same thing in Venezuela, and look where they're at now.
It's such a short period of time, Billy. But
Yes.
here, let's reflect on this for a second. Let me bring this up, okay? Everybody knows President Wilson signed in the Fed Act, right? The Federal Reserve Act.
Yes.
And there's a persistent belief that Wilson regretted his decisions largely based on a single quote. I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country, a great industrial nation is controlled by the system of credit. Then this thing goes on to say, however, according to historians like John Milton Cooper, an expert on Wilson, the president never had any regrets for having done that, creating the Federal Reserve. It was an accomplishment in which he took great pride, which is true. But the problem is he later had a reflection on how the banking system operated after he left office and became concentrated in the hands of a few men rather than the condemnation of the creation of a central bank itself. And that, within its point, is the whole issue. Is you have these great visions and these great ideas of how things are supposed to work, but when you create them, they don't go accordingly as planned.
Wow, that's spot on. Yeah. Well, I can tell you there is a way that communism works, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But Peter, when you hear people say it just needs to be done right, if you do it this way or whatever, it could work. What is your reaction to that?
Well, that's a very naive and wishful thinking. Billy, it's just to put it into perspective. Again, people, you and I are talking about communism, and people might argue and say, no, wait a minute. This is not communism. This is a socialism. That's a totally different thing. Socialism is not a problem. Communism might be the problem. Well, again, socialism is just the prefix for communism. Socialism is just soft communism, pretty much, and the countries cannot stay socialist because it doesn't work. Socialism, like Margaret Thatcher says, problem with socialism is that government eventually run out of people money.
Exactly.
So the country, yes. So any country, in order to prosper and function well and work right, has to be capitalism first. There is no society or country or nation which can start as a socialism, which can start as a communism. It doesn't work. The country has to be capitalist first. Everybody, there are businesses producing, there are people working, there are jobs, there is, and this, again, there is competition which makes everything better. And so nothing can start without being capitalist first. And then it can change into socialism. But again, socialism cannot survive on its own. So eventually it switched into the communism where government control everything. This decide everything was going on, control the people's life, control who can get a chair, control the wages, control the products, control everything. And as we know, as we saw around the world, we saw it in Russia, we saw it in Eastern Europe, that communism doesn't work forever. Eventually it goes, and the whole country goes bankrupt. Communism in Eastern Europe, in Russia, didn't end just because the Ronald Reagan has meeting with Gorbachev, and he says, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. No, it didn't happen that way. That communism, that Iron Curtain would come down anyway, this or without the Ronald Reagan, this or without the Gorbachev. What Reagan accomplished, which was a great deal, but he just make it happen faster. It would happen on its own anyway, collapse of Iron Curtain. It would happen anyway. It might take another 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years at most, but it would happen anyway because those communist countries bankrupt. They're running nothing is run properly, nothing is functioning. The country is bankrupt. That's why the Iron Curtain came down. And now, if you have business, like you own the business, you own production line or apartment building or restaurant, for example, it functions, you work it, that is going, everything else. But if it doesn't, then you either sold the business if you cannot make it work properly, or you go bankrupt. And then somebody else steps in and they take the business over. They have different ideas, have different plans. They can reorganize, change, start making different products and so on. So it's not end of the world. But if the whole country goes bankrupt, what do? You cannot reorganize. You cannot file the bankruptcy because how would you do that? So in order to fix the countries, which happened 30 years ago in front of our eyes, it happened in Russia, it happened in Eastern Europe, those countries have to go back to capitalism.
Yes.
The new government, which is not communist anymore, they go back to capitalism. They start giving people back what they confiscated, what communist government confiscated: farms, production plant, stores, everything what was confiscated by government. They give it back to people, and now people individually have to start working over to dig themselves in the hole. So normally in the history, and we all saw it, we just don't understand the side. It goes like whole Eastern Europe went from capitalism to socialism to communism and back to capitalism, because that's its only way how you can make something function properly for extended periods of time.
Well, I'd have to say that one of the best moments in recent Russian history was when Boris Yeltsin made a trip over here to the U.S. And I can't remember exactly where it was that he did this, but he walked into an American grocery store and, he talked to some of the employees there and realized too, because one of the things I think that they had in Russia is if you're going to be a simple shelf stocker at a grocery store in Russia, you had to have some kind of you had to have higher education, things like that. You had to have a degree to do it. And he talked to the employees. So you don't have a college degree? You just took the job, they trained you, and you're doing, and basically he went back to Russia and said, we're doing it all wrong. And that's about the point there where Russia started converting to capitalism. So
yes.
Boris Yeltsin was really the last good leader that Russia had, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Let's see, and how much time before we have to go? Yep, we are actually at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and take our second bottom of the hour break. We'll continue this discussion with Peter Vodenka here in about 3 minutes.
America's under attack. and they're all around us. I'm talking about liberal Democrats, and they're out to destroy everything that we've worked so hard for. Mammoth Nation's here to fight for you. You only get one vote, so let's join forces. We support conservative lawmakers and the causes you hold so dearly. We stand behind our police and much more. We need your help, so join today.
Hey friend, have you heard of Q Broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy live streaming TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices. You're on the go. Q Broadcast. Make sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. That's right. You can watch all your favorite channels from anywhere at any time and with zero restrictions. Say goodbyes, hidden costs, and price hikes. Switch to Q Broadcast. Save money and get more content than ever before. Click the link in the description of this video or podcast and sign up for Q Broadcast today.
Have you ever wondered why so much of what you hear in the media feels filtered or even manipulated? The truth is, most activists, people who think it's their duty to shape what you believe. So the common man ends up with a so-called correct opinion. At needtoknow.news, we do things differently. We provide unfiltered news and commentary as an antidote to the mainstream's newspeak. Here, there are no distractions with sports or celebrity gossip. Instead, we focus on what truly matters: your freedom, your health, and your financial security. And while we stand for individualism, we promise this: we'll never twist the facts just to fit our view. Even if the truth, and let truth have its voice. Join thousands who refuse to be misled. Sign up for the needtoknow.news newsletter today and start seeing the world as it really is.
At Birch Gold, education and personalized service sets us apart. Our customers say it best. Transferring my IRA into precious metals was easy and hassle-free. With an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and thousands of 5-star reviews, ready to secure your financial future? Birch Gold Group is here to answer your questions and guide you every step of the way. Join us and experience the Birch Gold difference. Go to thebeardedpatriots.com/affiliates and click on the Birch Gold banner.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and that last ad you just saw there, yes, I have actually switched gold IRA companies. There's I don't know what's exactly was happening with the affiliate program with Noble Gold Investments, but I know that they're no longer taking affiliates, and not much is happening there. I applied with Birch Gold, and it's got much better reviews. Everything that was said there in that ad was no lie. Plus, it's also recommended by the Trump family, so I think that should say something alone, shouldn't it, John?
I would think. I think that they've been investing a lot into cryptos and gold and stuff like that.
Yes, indeed. So, continuing our conversation here with Peter Vodenka, and Peter, I want to talk about the next thing that Mamdani is talking about for New York, which he wants to put a rent freeze. Which I think anybody will agree that the cost of living everywhere is outrageous. But we think about New York, which is already expensive, and the cost of living going up. And of course, whenever you watch his campaign ads, Mamdani was putting the full blame on former Mayor Eric Adams. Eric Adams, as we know, he's a horrible mayor for the city of New York, but at the same time, though, he at least tried to step up and do something that was right because of all the immigrants that were coming in, and he was doing what he can to fight against that, because obviously it's running New York into the ground. But Madani wants to put this rent freeze on. Now, this, as good as it sounds, it can't be good at all.
Yes, it's it's not kind of crazy thinking, because okay, so it would be great, right? I mean, most of us rented place at one time or other, and and we were renting place for so many, let's say $1,000 a month, and if it stayed that way for us to delight, that would be great for us, right? But problem is the person who owns the place, he has expenses for the water, for the sewer, for the electricity, for repairs, for maintenance, for everything else. So, and those prices are going up themselves. So if you have to go with the flow. You don't have different choice. Rent, unfortunately, for the people, it does have to go up because everything else is going up. And if you are only person who sticks to the one price, and now you cannot afford to do repairs, now you cannot afford to do snow removal, you cannot afford to fix the roof, you cannot afford to do these other things. So that just doesn't work. It's impossible to actually make that happen, to freeze the rent and continue having same rental places and services, everything else. It just doesn't work.
Well, the infrastructure is just going to crumble if you don't maintain it. And of course, free rent sounds great. Realize that you can't fix the infrastructure. That, like you said, the heating, the cooling, the sewer, the water, the electricity, and all of that. If obviously if you don't have the money to pay an electrician to fix loose wires and whatnot, we're just going to look at some disasters of fire. Who knows?
Absolutely. And same with him talking about free transportation, free daycare. He's talking about free this, free that. Well, again, somebody has to pay for it. There is not such a thing as the free lunch, because if you get free lunch, but somebody else has to pay for it, for that lunch, there is nothing. There is no free lunch exists actually. If you don't pay for it, but somebody else did. And so this is the same thing with transportation. Wouldn't it be great to be able to jump on the bus or subway and just go for the free? Wouldn't it be great to take the kids to the daycare and not to pay anything? Yes, it would all be great, but it's not possible. That's why communism and socialism is euphoria. It doesn't exist. It cannot work that way. When I grew up in the communism, again, we have so-called free healthcare. We went to the doctor, we didn't pay anything. That was free healthcare. We have the free education. We didn't pay for the schools, like, for the grade school and the high school and stuff. We didn't pay, but people didn't pay even going to the college. So it sounds really great, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work because somebody has to pay for it. Everything costs some money. Another way is like education. Now when it's free, everybody wants to have college, right? Everybody wants to go to university. Well, there is a lot more people than universities. There is a lot more people who would like to go there than professors and teachers and everybody else. So therefore, there's only a limited amount of the people who can go to the college, right? Like in communism. So what happened is that communists decided which children are allowed to go to get higher education. For example, myself and my brother, my parents were not members of Communist Party. So we as children, we cannot get a higher education. We cannot become the teacher. We cannot become the doctor. We cannot become the architect or anything what comes with the higher education. That was reserved for the children from vested communist family. So students on the universities and colleges were decided by Communist Party. Yes, this kid is okay because his parents are communist members. He can get education. Kids cannot get education. So in my case, for example, the highest thing I could achieve or could get was either go to factory from the school, which communists prefer because always need the factories workers, or I can go to the trade school. I could become electrician. I could become plumber. I could become, auto mechanic. But nothing above that. That was reserved for the people which communists decided deserve to be there. So everything is controlled by them. So it sounds like, yeah, this is a great thing. You don't need to pay for the college. Well, no, actually, it's not a great thing because everything has its price, everything has its limitation, and everything has its control. And eventually, you feel yourself up being controlled by government on every aspect of the life, not just on the college. They control every aspect of your life, and you are allowed to do only what they allow. Everything is controlled by them.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the bus too, because I almost forgot something Manoni said, and that was, the free transportation will cost us $700 million a year. So if it's free, but it's going to cost $700 million. Does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh my goodness.
Well, they can always raise the tolls going into the bridge and take that money and pay for it, I guess. And therefore, it's not people of New York City; it's the people outside of New York City coming through.
Right. Yeah. As we were saying before, everything costs money. There is nothing free. Nothing can be free. Somebody has to pay for it somewhere, somehow. And if you give this thing free over here, you have to take money from somebody else somewhere to pay for it. And of course, if you start taking too much money, and eventually the people who are productive and who do have money, who are successful or work hard or do whatever, they suddenly have less and less and less because free stuff costs more and more and more on the other side.
So have we not been seeing this already, Peter, here in the United States? We see these people on the left keep saying capitalism is bad. And I think they're confusing capitalism with corporatism to begin with. And secondly, we've had so many progressive presidents in the United States and progressive Congress that we've got things like Social Security in place and all these other stupid programs like Obamacare that they want to subsidize at $1.2 trillion or something. And so it's very expensive to operate these social programs. Are we seeing this decline in the United States already?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We see it all over. It's just creating the problems all over. We see the government is doing the stuff, building the new, lines, bus lines, train lines, and the people who use it, they don't pay enough for it to actually pay for the car. So everything is to be subsidized. And again, that money has to come from somebody. And who that come from? For people who produce, who generate, who create. But if you start taking that away from them, why should they continue doing it? Because they don't have reward. It would be exactly like if you do the socialism or communism in the school. And now you go in the school and you have A students and you have D students over there. Well, so if government or school decided and say, okay, well, yeah, everybody's going to be C students from now on. Well, those who are actually succeeding and studying and getting the A's, they start doing it because now they are going to be C anyway. So why should they work hard? And those who are getting B's and F's, they don't care. They are going to have C. So why should they how should they try even more? So none of this stuff functions, but they painted it the way the left and others are painting this stuff. It makes it sound great, right? They are really good in showing the thing and rattling the people and going, yeah, this is gonna be great. You know, as soon as we get this, that's gonna be paradise. No, it's gonna be hell. It might look good for a second, for some time, but then everything is go to hell. And like I said, it all ends up in the bankruptcy eventually. Sooner or later, it will end up in bankruptcy.
Well, that's what's happening now, and this is the issue, isn't it? When people lose faith in the currency, and with quantitative easing, deficit spending, and so on and so forth, we are crippling our country, and we are diluting our currency or the value of our currency. Isn't that how great our nations in the past dissolved? Like Rome used to be a great nation once, and once their currency was gone, and nobody saw any value in their currency, the whole nation within itself collapsed.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, we're at the final quarter, so we're going to take our final break, and we'll be back to wrap things up in about 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Sean Spicer, father of 2 elementary school age children. I don't even know that I have to open this. The hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish. Anti-racist. Babies come out racist. Babies are taught to be racist. Really? I'm not really sure that this is a subject that young kids are ready to adapt to. Most kids are innocent. This is not really, we're going to need like psychiatric help after reading this book. Yeah, it's a hard no.
Your book that's coming out.
See, this is more like it. This is what you can read. It's very well illustrated too. Great story, great message. Now this is a book you can read your kids.
And if you're shocked by these 2 men dying in the pursuit of pleasure, it's more common than you might think. And this issue may lay a lot closer to home than imagined. Porn addiction will mentally kill you long before you reach the same fate as these guys over the industry. Help men regain control of their lives and finally break free from this evil habit. With their in-app 28-day challenge, 500,000 men have already seen incredible changes in their lives, with increased confidence in themselves and in talking to women. Quitting porn doesn't have to be difficult, and with Quitter's cutting-edge app, 28 days is all it takes to enjoy the physical and mental benefits. Now you might be thinking, how do I know if I need help? Well, with Quitter's free porn addiction quiz, you can see how your habits compare to the 500,000 men that they have helped overcome their addiction forever. All you have to do is click the link in the description and download the app, and you'll stop saying I'll quit tomorrow and regain control before it's too late.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are just about to wrap things up here, speaking with Peter Vodenka. And Peter, you know, to close out the show, I have to ask you, when you look at Zoran Mandamni over in New York, and obviously you who was born and raised in communism, that you look at him, you can't, I have to assume you look at him and you got to think, this is actually worse than what I faced before, because, I mean, not only is he a communist, but, you know, he wants Islam to be the law of the land. He wants Sharia law. You know, he's going to want women, all these women who voted for him, who have their noses pierced and their hair colored blue and God knows what. You know, eventually he's going to want them to wear bokas, and if they don't comply, they'll get beaten into submission. And let's not forget that as I said yesterday when I was talking with Sierra Clark, in certain Middle Eastern countries where they have Sharia law, there is no such thing as lewd conduct of a minor. So this has got to be worse than the communism of Eastern Europe. His vision has to be.
Yeah, yes, I totally agree with you. You know, again, people have to know what they're asking for. people who celebrating and going, this is great. We got the guy. There's no clue that they might be the first one to go on the chopping block. And I don't mean it literally, but I mean it, that they're gonna be, people who wore tattoos, people who wore pink hair, like you are saying, people who wore clothes which they showing the bellies, people who are doing stuff which is, to us, we are looking at it and we tolerate it. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's yours. That's your decision. You wanna be gay, that's your decision. You wanna do this, that's your decision. We are tolerating it. But the Muslims and Sharia law and stuff don't tolerate any of that stuff. And so the people who are cheering for people like him, they are very grossly mistaken and thinking they're gonna get something, and they're gonna be the first one to be destroyed, or limited, or locked up, or whatever, beaten, punished.
And then there's something else too that I don't know if I addressed this with you or not, but there's a deal here where they they want to push critical race theory in schools, and I took a deeper look into that, and basically, that what some of that is some people, they actually learn that what communism is all about. They learn the truth, but we enslaved these people. We stole their land. We did this. We did that to them. So we deserve to be poor. We deserve to be hungry. We deserve to be homeless. I mean, that self-loathing. They're teaching self-loathing as a way to help accept communism. What is your take on that?
Well, like you said, we do people feel the guilty. We have the conscience. We feel guilty for something maybe which we didn't do, but somebody else did, and some people feel guilty because, I have more money than the next person over here. And so people do feel guilty. That's what makes us Christians. That's what makes us, good people. Because, we have compassion, we have love, and stuff like that. But there is not everybody like that. And certain religion use that against the people who have that compassion. They use that to their benefits. They use that to take control of those people who do have compassion. They use that to pound them down and get them under control. And unfortunately, that's what's going on. That's what humans are. There are people who are naturally evil, and there are people who are naturally good. And the people who are good sometimes don't understand that maybe here and there, their goodness might actually cause the problems and create the bigger problems.
All right. And so we're winding down. By the way, I told you guys that I would explain the only way communism works, and I think I'm going to get a laugh out of both of you. There is a way that it works, and I'll explain it. So only single people without children who live on their own with no one to support are the ones who really practice true capitalism. If you're married, you have children, or you're divorced and you're paying alimony and child support, you don't know it, but you're practicing communism. Because my wife said, when I get paid, we get paid. The only way communism works is within the private household. That's it. So that's the only way you can do it right. It does not work into a government.
How many times when you were a kid, you asked your father, why do I have to do this? And he says, because I said so, that's why. Authoritarianism, man. Authoritarianism.
Yeah. Oh no, you real quick,
Yeah.
Peter, your response to what I just said.
Yeah, no, it's you're right. It is, there are certain things which could be seen as a capitalism or communism. Let me tell you something. I have the house and I have some nice trees around my house and I have the bird feeders over there. And I feed the birds. I love to watch them as they coming, all different colors, everything else. And but under Joe Biden presidency, the prices were skyrocketing. So pretty soon that feed, even the bird feed cost more money than it when I started. And so I started slowing a little bit down, not much, but I was still feeding the birds and stuff. And then somebody told me, he says, you're teaching this birds communism. I says, what do you mean? Well, you feed them, you give them food. They didn't ask for it, but you feed them and you teach them to get that food from you instead of work for it and find it on their own. I go, okay, that's kind of interesting. So I am teaching the birds communism. So
You're developing dependency, and that's a lead way into it, right? You dependent on the government.
Exactly.
They will pick and decide for you.
Exactly.
Then again, well, it's not exactly like feeding bears when you remember when they used to feed the bears in Yellowstone, and then oh no, they became dependent on people for food and were starting to get aggressive. Then it became a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a signal, like when the people turn back on them and say, "Hey, we've had enough."
Yes. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Billy, how much time do we have? Do we have any? How much time do we have left?
we're about to wind down, which I was about to ask you. So, your website is no longer available that you used to have last time we talked, but your book is still out there. Journey for Freedom.
Yes.
It's found it on Amazon if you want to order it.
Yes.
Anywhere is your website ever going to be back up, or what might happen with that?
It will be back. It will be back within the 24 hours.
Oh.
I finally got everything sorted out, and it's gonna be back up very soon.
Excellent. And so that's Journey for Freedom.
And the website is John.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, so I repeat that because you cut out when you were just saying it.
Okay. Yeah, the name of the website and also my book is Journey for Freedom.
All right. .com?
Yes, .com. Yes.
All right. Well,
and
Peter,
the name of the book is also Journey for Freedom, and I also do public speaking. And my speaking company is also Journey for Freedom.
all right. Well, Peter, that's definitely all the time we have. I want to thank you very much for your time with us once again. God bless you, and we'll be speaking again sometime down the road.
Okay, Billy. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you, John.
Same here, man.
All right. On tap for next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be speaking with a gentleman named Tim Roberts. He's the head of a company called Patriots Relief. Basically a CBD company. So be talking with him about his product and, get some Christmas ideas out there. Plus, I think, we're going to have another affiliate out of that. So that's what's coming up next week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much for tuning in to Patriot Confederation. God save the Republic of the United States of America.